Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Jayashila, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmacovigilance. Today I'm going to read with the topic called antidotes. We'll start with the case report. 83-year-old woman was admitted to the surgery department, presenting with abdominal pain located in the umbilical and hypogastricness. She was conscious. Her Glasgow chromosomal scale is 15 and oriented in time, place, and person. Physical examination of the abdomen, revealed a pulsatile spantic mass extending downward from the level of umbilicus. A computed tomography scan showed a large mass 10 centimeter wide and reported some behavior. The patient had a history of coronary disease, multiple myocardial infarctions, left heart insufficiency, recurrent attacks of pulmonary edema, and renal insufficiency. Surgical assessment suggested that the aneurysm was not suitable for an endovascular repair due to distal aortic anatomy. An epidural catheter was inserted at T10 level for continuous analgesia. The patient was informed about all risks associated with complications. So when this kind of case report, we can able to confirm that there is a mass which is present in the abdomen, so extending 10 cm wide located subdermally. So there is a patient history of all the cardiac histories, the coronary arteries, they have developed multiple MI insufficiencies, they have pulmonary. So in that case, the patients undergo a surgery. So normally, they so these patients requires inotropes. So it increases the force of contraction of the heart. So today's topic is what are the drugs considered inotropes, what is mechanism of functions, and its antecedents. Before going to the drugs, what is inotrope? An inotrope is an agent which increases or decreases the force or energy of muscular contractions. Positive inotrope means it is an agent enhances myocardial contractility. So cardiac output, the amount of blood ejected by the heart with each beat will also increase. Why inotrope is needed? Maintenance of adequate oxygen balance is one of the primary objectives when dealing with the patients undergoing cardiac surgery. So it means that we have to maintain the oxygen balance. So that is a primary requirement in patients undergoing the cardiac surgery. Cardiac output is one of the major components of oxygen delivery. Due to preoperative cardiac lesions and myocardial dysfunction, secondary to the events related to cardiac surgery and cardiopulmonary bypass, circulatory support by pharmacological means is frequently required after surgery. And what are the drugs with positive inotropic effects? The drug is cardiac glycosides, digoxin, digitoxin, and warfarin, and myperiton or phosphatase inhibitors like enoxaparin, milrinone, levosamine, antioxidant, and beta-adrenergic agonists, it is dopamine, dopamine, and dopamine. Epinephrine, hormone secreted by the adrenal medulla. It is a hormone secreted by the adrenal medulla. It has got a potent action on the alpha and beta adrenal receptor agonist. It is a powerful vasoconstrictor, so it is called as a positive inotrope. It is also called as a positive chronotrope. Chronotrope means contractions. But diastolic blood pressure may decrease as a result of vasodilatation due to stimulation of the beta 2 receptor effects. So we use that beta 2 receptor is present in the vessel which causes a vasodilation. As I said, epinephrine has got action on alpha and beta receptor. Since even is small quantity, it also acts on the beta 2 receptor which causes vasodilation. Thereby the diastolic blood pressure becomes decreased. Absorption is more rapid after IM versus subcutaneous administration. The dose is 2 to 20 microgram per minute or can be given 0.04 to 0.4 microgram per kg per minute. Norepinephrine. So it is a principal neurotransmitter in the sympathetic nervous system. So it is a potent alpha adrenoreceptor agonist. So this causes a strong vasoconstriction because alpha 1 has got a more action on the vessel which causes a vasoconstriction. Norepinephrine stimulates a beta 1 adrenal receptors, thereby increases both heart rate and contraction. So norepinephrine stimulates beta 1. We know that beta 1 receptor is predominant in the heart. So beta 2 is predominant in the lungs and beta 1 is predominant in the heart. So when it stimulates a beta 1 receptor, so that increases both heart rate and the contractions. The norepinephrine does not affect beta 2 adenoreceptors. So when compared to the epinephrine as I said, so this stimulates the beta 2 receptor, causes vasodilation, causes a fall in the diastolic blood pressure. So, but when compared to the norepinephrine, so it does not affect the beta 2 receptor. So the development of vasodilatation is reduced, and automatically the fall in diastolic blood is also be not there in case of a norepinephrine. The dose is 2 to 20 microgram per minute, or you can give 0.04 to zero point 0.4 microgram per kg per minute can be given norepinephrine. Dopamine. What is dopamine? So dopamine, you know that it is a naturally occurring catecholamine of the adrenergic drugs. It is a precursor of the adrenaline and the noradrenaline. It is also endogenous catecholamines. It stimulates both adrenergic and the dopamine receptors. So D1. What is D1? It is a So the dopamine mechanism action is varied according to the dose. In case of the lower dose, that is a 2 to 5 microgram per kg IV infusion, that will stimulate normally a dopamine 2 receptors which are predominant in the kidney. So that causes produces vasodilation. So stimulates both adrenergic and the dopamine D1 and D2 receptor. So D1 dilatation of renal blood vessels resulting in an increasing in the glomerular filtration rate, renal blood flow and urinary output, everything is being increased. And during the time we have to monitor the BP, heart rate and urinary output, not only to adjust the dose and also to achieve the beneficial effects. And low dose infusion is less than 5 microgram per kg per minute can be given. An intermediate dose. So here we have seen up to 2 to less than 5 microgram per kg minute. So in case of intermediate dose, that is a 5 to 10 microgram per kg per minute, dopamine is weakly binds to adrenergic receptor that promotes the norepinephrine release and inhibit the reuptake in the presynaptic sympathetic nerve terminals. So which results in the increased cardiac contractility and chronotropy with a mild increase in the peripheral resistance also. So what systemic vascular resistance. So what happens is intermediate doses 5 to 10 microgram per kg per minute. So for in case of a 2 to 5, that is a less than 5 microgram per kg per minute, it acts on the D1 receptor that causes a dilatation of renal blood vessels and which increases the glomerular filtration rate and renal blood flow, urinary output, everything is being increased. And if you give more than 5, that is 5 to 10 microgram per kg per minute, that will binds with the adrenergic receptors. When it binds the adrenergic receptors, automatically what happens is norepinephrine release will be there and also it reuptake. Normally, whenever the um, hormones, whenever the neurotransmitters get released in the presynaptic cleft, again there is a reuptake transporters will be there. Through the reuptake transporters, the drug has been taken back to the vesicle and it has been stored. So here, when you give dopamine, so that will inhibit the reuptake in the presynaptic sympathetic nerve terminals. So when the reuptake is being inhibited, automatically the concentration is also been increased. So which results in the activation of this dopamine in the adrenergic receptor, which causes a contractility. So increases the cardiac contractility and chronotropy with a mild increase in the vascular resistance. So BP is also been raised. Higher dose. Higher dose is more than 10 microgram per kg per minute. It's got alpha 1 adrenergic receptor, which causes mediated vasoconstrictions. What are the side effects? So, as I said, chronotropy is increased, right? So, patient will develop a severe hypertension, especially in a patient taking a non-selective blockers. Ventricular arrhythmia will be there, cardiac ischemia will be there, tissue ischemia or gangrene. There may be high doses or due to tissue extravasation. So these are the adverse effects. So severe hypertension, arrhythmia, ischemia or tissue ischemia or gangrene. Dopamine. Dopamine is a beta 1 adrenergic agonist. It also has got a property of positive inotropic and peripheral vasodilative properties. As established, dopamine as a first-line therapeutic choice in patients with decompensated heart failure. In case of decompensated, dopamine is the first line of therapeutic choice. The steady state concentrations are achieved within 10 minutes of his IV infusion. So normally after the loading dose, the steady state concentration is when achieved. So short-term management of the heart failure associated with the MI or cardiac surgery. Doses 5 to 10 microgram per kg per minute. What are side effects? Tachycardia will be the increased ventricular response rate in the patients with the atrial fibrillations, ventricular arrhythmias, hypertension, especially non-selective beta, non-selective blocker patients may develop a hypertensions. Hypotension will also be there. So these are the side effects of glutamines and phosphodiesterase enzyme inhibitors. So we know that so it is an enzyme. It acts in various areas. So it is otherwise called as inodilators. Increase in myocardial contractility along with the vasodilatations. So what happened is so this is a phosphodiesterase enzyme which will convert the cyclic AMP to AMP. So the cyclic AMP is being degraded. So what happens is when you inhibit that enzyme, so there is a degradation of conversion of cyclic AMP to AMP is been reduced. So that's what increases the amount of cyclic AMP by preventing its degradation to AMP. And what is the importance of cyclic AMP? So why you want to increase the concentration of cyclic AMP in the blood? Because as I said, as we discussed, cyclic AMP as so there is maybe an increased influx of calcium ions from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So thus calcium combines with the calmodulin and this will cause this complex forms of interaction of proton with this myosin actin that cause excitation, contraction, coupling reactions which causes increased cardiac contractility. So this is the primary mechanism behind this enzyme. So milrinone is one of the phosphodiesterase enzyme inhibitor. The dose is 50 microgram per kg over 10 minutes. Then 0.375 to 0.75 microgram per kg per minute. Maximum you can give up to 1 to 13 milligram per kg per minute. Administered as loading dose followed by slow maintenance infusion in normal saline. So give a loading dose as a one shot, then you can mix it with the normal saline and you can give us a maintenance infusions. Milrinone may help in maintaining patients awaiting the cardiac transplantations. So it's most commonly used in the patients who are waiting for the transplantations. In that cases, milrinone can be used. Renal impairment can prolong the plasma half-life of the renal. So in case of renal patients, So it may prolong the plasma half-life. So it end up into toxicity will be there. So what you can do is, so you can dose adjustment can be done in case of a renal impairment. So minor side effects is headache and tremors will be there. What is the toxicity of that is nausea, vomiting will be there, dose dependent thrombocytopenia. So this is the adverse effects of milrinone. Then inoximone. So it's another contingent of inamidone given IV in case of acute heart failure. So this can be given as an intravascular preparations. As with inamidone, there is risk for developing a arrhythmia, but better tolerated and improves the quality of life in these patients. And central stimulatory effect of this increases the cyclic AMP. Leucimendin. What is it? It is a one of the calcium sensitizer. It acts by increasing the sensitivity of contractile apparatus, especially troponin T. So look at it, it is one of the calcium sensitizer. It acts by increasing the sensitivity of a contractile apparatus, especially troponin T, to the intracellular calcium. So the sensitivity of the troponin has been increased to the calcium. So pro-arrhythmic activity is also being less common. It also induces the peripheral, pulmonary and coronary vasodilatations via ATP sensitive potassium channels. So the dose is 6 to 12 microgram per kg, loading dose over 10 minutes, followed by zero point 0.5, 0.05 to zero point 0.2 microgram per kg per minute as a continuous infusions. So, sir, levosamine is one of the calcium sensitizer. It will make the sensitivity and increase the sensitivity of the contractile apparatus, especially troponin to the calcium. So that causes that coupling causes contractions. Side effects. So tachycardia. As when there is a contractile is increased, so patient will develop a tachycardia will be the enhanced AV conduction will be there, and they may develop a hypotension. Then calcium. Calcium is also a positive inotrope but must be given as a slow IV injection or infusion. So we know that calcium, because calcium is coming from endoplasmaticum, that binds the troponin, the dactyl myosin, troponin binds that causes excitation, contraction, coupling reactions, which causes contractions. Even though that, so when you are giving calcium as such, you have to give very slowly as a IV injection or infusion. Calcium must be administered carefully. Why? Because it can cause a cardiac rigor will be there and stand still at high doses. So they will develop a rigor. Gluconate form is preferred to the calcium chloride. When compared to calcium chloride, we can prefer the gluconate. What are the choice of inotropes? What are the patients? What are the inotropes can be given to which patients? What is the guidance you can do? The expected need for inotropes. Clinical evidence of depressed myocardial function. So when you think that the patient has been depressed myocardial functions, so in that cases you can start with antidotes. As we discussed the case history, so you have seen that the patient develop a aortic aneurysm. So they have some 10 centimeter wide, which has been extended up to subrenally, and that is a history of a myocardial infarction case. And they have a coronary heart disease, and they he has got few attacks. Okay, so in such cases where there is a depressed myocardial functions, where you need an iron drops, because then the patient, when you are doing the surgery, open surgery, the patient may go for a shock, they may go for a cardiogenic shock. Okay, in such case, we need an iron drops to increases the force of contraction and also to increases the blood pressure. So these are some evidence for the choice of using iron drops. An empirical drug choice and titration which with careful hemodynamic monitoring. What are the predisposing factors for support as highlighted by the serious studies? What are the predisposing factors? There is a low predictive factors. It is not predictive, it is a predictive factors of inotropic support as highlighted by the several studies. So what are the factors we need to know to weigh which patients can give a inotropes? When there is a low ejection fraction, less than 45%, in that cases, history of congestive heart failure, cardiomegaly, and MI within 30 days of operations. When there is older age, more than 70 years, longer duration of aortic cross clampings, longer duration of aortic clamping, and prolonged cardiopulmonary bypass patient, urgent operations, reoperations, female patients, diabetes mellitus patients. So these are some predictive factors where you need an inotropic, where you need a inotropic support. So when these patients going for any surgery or any elective surgery or any emergency surgeries, so you have to keep your inotropes to be ready. Recommendation of inotropes for various conditions. So, which allotropes you use for which conditions? So, septic shock. So, which allotropes you use? So, dopamine can be used for septic shocks. So, dopamine may be initiated in combination with norepinephrine in the patients with myocardial dysfunctions, that is, elevated cardiac filling pressure and no cardiac output, low cardiac output. So we can use in case of septic shock, we can use reputamine along with the norepinephrine. So in case of a septic shock, we can use these two combinations. Neurogenic shock. Due to the physiologic nature of neurogenic shock, vasopressors may be initiated earlier to avoid the volume load. And one more thing, so, in case and when the patient is coming to you in hypolimic shock, okay, so think that this vasopressors will not work until otherwise the volume has been correct. So normally, so before giving the vasopressors, start with IV infusions. Start with your IV infusions. You can start this. Or else these drugs will not work properly. So you have to correct the hypovolemia before giving the vasopressor, so that you can correct the hypovolemia by giving an IV infusions. Then if you give a vasopressor, so the effect, the response will be very good. In case of neurogenic shock, due to the physiologic nature of neurogenic shock, vasopressors may be initiated earlier to avoid the volume overload. Norepinephrine should be the first line agent once the vasopressors are indicated. So whenever you think of vasopressors and neurogenic shocks, think of a norepinephrine. In case of septic shock, what is the drug you have to think of? Dopamine. In case of neurogenic shock, you can think of a norepinephrine. So phenylephrine should be avoided in most patients due to unopposed alpha activity that can result in reflux bradycardia. It may further worsening the spinal cord injury associated bradycardia. So in that situation, we should not use phenylephrine because it may activate the alpha receptor that will produce a reflex bradycardia. Because when there is alpha is going to increase, what happens? There may be a vasoconstrictions will be there, so there will be that will end up into the reflex bradycardia, so that phenylephrine should not be used. Cardiogenic shock. In case of a cardiogenic shock, vasopressors and or inotropes may be initiated early in the cardiogenic shock with clinical evidence of volume overload. In low output cardiogenic shock, dopamine may be titrated in a combination with the norepinephrine. So this is about the cardiogenic shock. Thank you. So what are things we have seen? So we have seen few drugs like inotropes, like dopamine we have seen, and norepinephrine we have seen. Then what are the factors? What are the predictive factors which uh, what are the factors which we need the inotropic supports? So what are the choice? What are the drugs we have seen? Liver we have seen calcium. and phosphodiesterase inhibitors, dopamine, dobutamine, and vasopressin, so sorry, norepinephrine. Okay. So these are drugs can be used as a anadrops in a patients undergoing a surgery, or in a patients with diabetes mellitus undergoing surgery, or in the emergency surgeries. And the main thing is you have to remember this before giving the vasopressors, please correct the hypovolemia, because this drugs will not produce any, does not produce very effectively. So always correct the hypovolemia, then you can treat with the vasopressors.